Hello and welcome to this lesson 1 of the course Colloquial Flemish, where I will teach you how to speak Dutch the Flemish way. I hope you will enjoy this course. So let's dive right into it with our first topic, which is greetings. I will read the Flemish phrases as slowly as I can, so you have time to pause the video and repeat as many times as you need to get the pronunciation right. Let's have a look at the short conversation. We have Bram, who runs into his friend Anne. They haven't seen each other in a while. Ma, wie dan me daar hebben? Anne, hoe is het? Maar hey Bram, hoe jong, en met u? Goh, ça va wel, vertel een keer, wat doe jij tegenwoordig? Ah wel, ik ben juist terug uit Mexico. Dat is mij lief, ik kom hier wonen. Aangenaam, hoe noemde jij? Roque, aangenaam. Van waar zijde jij? Van Mexico? Ja, dat klopt, maar nu woon ik hier in Gent. Allee, welkom zou ik zeggen. Merci, merci. Maar goed, ik moet een keer gaan zien. Ja, dat is goed, ik ben ook door. De groetjes aan Elzee. Ga ik doen. Salutkezee. Ja, salut hè. If you're watching this video, then you probably already have some knowledge of Dutch, so it's not too hard to figure out that these people greet each other, ask how they're doing, respond, and then say goodbye. Now, let's have a look at some phrases to say when you meet someone you already know. We start with hello. All these phrases are informal, so you can use them with your friends, with your colleagues, if you know them well, with your neighbors perhaps, or with people that your partner or your friends know, but you meet for the first time. Do not use these phrases in formal situations. They are rather colloquial and informal. All these phrases are interchangeable, so you can greet someone with any of them, as long as you remember the informal situation, and you can respond with whatever phrase you like. So, here we have them. The first options are hallo, hey, hey, hoi, and they all mean hello or hi. You can use them to say hello to someone or to respond to someone saying hello to you in any informal situation, also among friends. Even hello is fine among friends. Hey, hey, hoi. They are rather informal, so I wouldn't really greet my boss like this. Hello is a very good option to greet someone in all situations. This one is yo or yo de mamme, but this is very informal, and I suggest you only use this with your closest friends. The next one is dag plus the name of the other person. This is a good option for when you are not really sure how you should greet someone. It is polite and friendly. It's not too casual nor too formal. So if we have a look at our conversation again, Anne could also have responded as follows. Ma, wie dan me daar hebben? Anne, hoe is het? Dag Bram, hoe en met u? You can use the last 4 options when you meet someone unexpectedly, when you run into them on the street, for example, or you see them at your party and you haven't seen them in a while. There is an element of surprise in this one, and they are ma hey, ma wie dan hier hebben, ma wie dan me daar hebben. Ah, Bram, for example, or with the name of the other person. This is also how Bram and Anne greet each other. Great, so now we can say hello. The second thing people usually do after saying hello is asking how the other person is doing. So do Bram and Anne in our conversation. Bram asks, hoe is het? And Anne responds, hoe en met u? Let's look at what they said and add some other options to ask how someone is doing. Here are the possible things you could say. Hoe is het? And hoe is dan nog? They are very colloquial and a very common way to ask people, how are you? You will hear this a lot when you meet people. You can add met u, literally meaning with you, to both phrases. In this case, hoe is dan nog met u would rather be used when you haven't seen someone in a while. Hoe is het met u is something that I personally would rather use when I know someone hasn't been feeling too well and I want to check how he or she is doing. Flemish is very heavily influenced by French. I won't go into detail about why, but just keep in mind that you will hear a lot of French phrases, nouns, or expressions in Flemish. The most common one is this one, ça va? So you will also hear this a lot and you can say this a lot as well. This is literal French for how are you? Ça va could also be a question, so you raise your voice at the end saying ça va? But it could also be an answer, as we will see in a minute. Alles goed means, is everything okay? And is a passepartout phrase you can use in almost all circumstances. So, after the first introductions are done, you might ask how some mutual acquaintance is doing, for example, someone's friend, partner, or child. You can do this by asking, hoe stel ik het? Or hoe stel ik dat? Or hoe is het met X? Where X would be the name of the mutual acquaintance. If the word following the verb stel starts with a vowel, you add a soft D to stel. In our sample conversation, Bram could have asked Anne how her brother Tom or her mother are doing. He would then have said, for example, Hey Anne, hoe stelt Tom dat? Or, Hey Anne, hoe stelt uw ma dat? Another possibility for the same question could be, Hey Anne, hoe is het met uw ma? You can also use this construction to ask how the person you're talking to is doing, for example, in his new house, or maybe he or she had a new job and you want to know how that worked out. You can then ask, hoe stelde jij dat in uw nieuw huis? Or, hoe stelde jij dat op uw nieuw werk? So far, so good. So we are halfway through the greetings. Well done. Now there are 3 possible ways to respond to these questions. They could be good, neutral, or bad. If everything's going well, you can respond with any of these answers. The last one, kan niet beter, meaning couldn't be better, is a very colloquial expression, so try to use it if you can. If someone asks you, ça va? Or alles goed? You usually answer by saying, ja ja, ça va, or ja ja, goed, or ja ja, and any of the other possibilities we have seen before. Let's look at an example. Hey Bram, ça va? Ja ja, alles goed. Or Hey Bram, ça va? Ja ja, super. Let's listen to a few short examples. Ça va? Ja ja, kan niet beter. Hoe is het? Goed jong. Alles goed? Ja ja, top. Let's have a look at some neutral answers. These are also the ones that you would use when you meet someone and they politely ask you how you're doing, but with no intention to start a conversation. Sort of a passepartout answer as well. For example, when you don't feel like talking about how you are really feeling. So we have ça va, dat gaat, goh, dat gaat, dat gaat dat gaat wel, goed. If someone asks you how you're feeling, then you can respond to the question ça va or alles goed with ja ja, ça va or dat gaat, or any of the other possibilities. Again, let's look at an example sentence. Hey Bram, ça va? Ja ja, alles goed. Ja ja, ça va. Ja ja, dat gaat. This is a very colloquial neutral expression, maar ben je, which would mean something like, oh well, yeah. You can only use this as an answer to the question ça va or alles goed. Let's listen again to some sample conversations. Hoe is het? Dat gaat Alles goed? Ja ja, ça va. Hoe is dat nog met u? Dat gaat. Ça va? Maar ben je? The third and last possible reaction is saying that it isn't going well at all. So how do we do that in Flemish? First of all, you can use your intonation. You can use any of the neutral answers by saying them in a different way, such as ja ja, alles goed, or goh, dat gaat ie. Or you could add little words such as boh, boh, moi. They would sound in that case like boh, dat gaat, mo, goede, boh, dat gaat wel. Or you could be really direct and say niet zo goed, which means not really good, or slecht, meaning bad, or dat kan beter, could be better. A funny way to say things are not going the way they should is this one, och zwicht jong. And then the hand gesture that goes with it is like throwing something away or pushing something away. This implies that things are going really bad. So again, we have some sample conversations to listen to. Hoe stelde jij dat op uw nieuw werk? Och zwicht jong. Hoe is dat nog met u? Niet zo goed. Ça va? Boah, dat kan beter. The polite way would be to add en gij or en met u to your reply, meaning what about you? Let's listen to two short sample examples. Hoe is het? Oh, super. En met u? Alles goed? Bon, ça va. En gij? The last thing we're going to have a look at is how to say goodbye. So now we have already seen what you say when you meet someone, how you say hello and ask how he or she is doing. And then you have a short or longer conversation. And now it's time to go. So let's look at how we do that in Flemish. I have divided the possible answers into 3 categories depending on the situation. The options in category 1 are pretty much interchangeable, so you can pick whichever one you like. You can say them when you are the one that is leaving, or you can say them to someone who is leaving, spontaneously or as a reply to his or her goodbye. So here we have them. Let's have a look. So they are salut, salukus, and to both of these options you can add e at the end, so they become salukeze or salué. We also have tot de volgende, goed weekend, geniet ervan, tot ziens, tot straks, tot zeffens, tot morgen, tot overmorgen, tot maandag, or any other day of the week. You can also add allee in front of your goodbye and e at the end to sound more colloquial. So that would be something like allee salut, allee tot zeffens, tot morgen, allee goed weekend. And in your reply you can add ja in front and e at the end. That would mean ja salut, tot straks, ja tot morgen. Let's have a look again at some short goodbyes and answers. Goed weekend, ja tot maandag. Tot morgen, salut. Salukus, ja salut. Salut, tot de volgende. Allee, tot straks, ja tot ziens. The options in category 2 is what you say when you are the one that is leaving. The answers could be anything from any other category, depending on the situation. In this category, there are no answers, so you cannot use them as a reply to someone who is saying goodbye to you. I have also added 4 little words you can add to your sentence. So what are these little extras? Here you have them. They are allee, dan, ne keer, and e. Feel free to add or drop them as you like. You can use all of them. This doesn't sound strange at all. But personally, I would suggest to always use at least one of them. To me, it sounds a bit harsh if you would drop all 4. For example, if you would say, "Ik ben door," it sounds kind of abrupt, whereas "ben dore" immediately sounds friendlier or softer. And last but not least, you can change allee to ja, where you aspirate the H. So I know you're very curious now, so let's have a look at the possible phrases. Allee, ben er dan een keer mee weg, hé? Allee, ben dan door, hé? Allee, ben dan een keer gaan zien, hé? Allee, ga dan een keer gaan zien, hé. Allee, ik ben dan een keer door, hé. Allee, ik ben dan een keer weg, hé. Allee, ik ben dan een keer gaan zien, hé. Remember that you can drop any of the 4 interjections. If we look at the first example, then your sentence would sound like this. Allee, ik ben er dan mee weg, hé. Or, ben er dan een keer mee weg, hé. Or, allee, ik ben er een keer mee weg, hé. So as you see, many options to say you're leaving. Listen to the expressions in this short sample conversation. Allee, ben er dan een keer mee weg, hé. Ja, salut. Ja, ik ga dan een keer gaan zien. Tot morgen. Ben dan weg, hé. Goed weekend. The phrases in the third and last category are only replies. So remember, you cannot say these first, but only use them to say goodbye to someone who is leaving and already said goodbye. These are all very colloquial and nice expressions to use, so try and see if you can use them in a daily conversation. They are wel thuis, or wel thuis, hé, or kom goed thuis, or kom goed thuis, hé, and they mean something like get home safely. You would typically use this, for example, on a rainy evening or late at night, maybe after you had dinner at your place, and the other person still has to drive or walk or bike back home. You would not really use this after work, I would say. A nice one to use would be the second one, de groetjes, hé, or de groetjes thuis, hé, literally meaning something along the lines of greetings or greetings at home. If the other person lives with someone you know, maybe a partner or a roommate, you could say de groetjes aan X or doe de groetjes aan X. Or if you previously have been talking about this person, you could say doe dem de groetjes for a male or doe daar de groetjes for a female. For more neutral replies, you can have a look at category 1. Let's have again a look at these short examples. Allee, ik ben dan een keer door. De groetjes. Salutjes. De groetjes thuis, hé. Tot morgen. Tot morgen en de groetjes aan Bram, hé. Allee, ik ben dan een keer gaan zien. Kom goed thuis, hé. Well done! So now you should be able to say hello and goodbye to someone the Flemish way. But, of course, people will be people, and when you meet someone, they might be a bit curious and ask you, for example, where you're from or what your name is. Because these questions, they could be very different from the standard Dutch you may have learned already, so that's why I've decided to quickly have a look at them as well, especially because they sound very different. So, what are possible questions someone could ask you? The first one is the most common question and most colloquial as well that you will ever hear, and it is hoe noemde gij? Which means what's your name? The other questions could be waar woonde gij? Van waar zijde gij? Wat doe gij van werk? Wat doe gij voor werk? Wat voor werk doe gij? Wat doe gij tegenwoordig? Waar werkte gij? Okay, so that was a lot. I'm really glad to see you have reached the end of this video. There was a lot of information, I know, or as we say in Flemish, dat was een hele boterham, literally meaning a big slice of bread or just meaning a lot of information. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you found it helpful or interesting or maybe just fun and you would like to see more, please like and subscribe. I know this is just a small channel right now, but it would mean a lot to me. So now all I have left to say is ben ermee weg, salutjes en tot de volgende.